got all kinds of room.
Yeah, but going this way.
Yeah, going the opposite way, the way we're hanging it.
Move it a tiny bit. Alright guys, so I figure I'd spend the first minute of the video here just kind of explaining a few things, some of the questions, and answer a few of those. Thumbs down, guys. Alright, so the car is still sitting here since the last video. There isn't any trickery. This is just the way it sits. We're going to do some more tuning because this has, I think, 6 runs into it, and like I showed you, it made 350 horsepower. The air fuel is kind of close, but I'm a little OCD, so it's going to be cleaned up. To answer the question, the blow-off valve didn't work properly. The line going to it is a -3, and it turns out it needs a -4. I did purchase a -4 line as shown in the last video, but it is not installed yet. Hopefully that will address that. That Mishimoto cap came off the other radiator. Koyo are nice enough to sell you a radiator but not a cap. I didn't have a cap for it. This is just temporary. This is not staying. I don't like the look of it. It's not staying. This is an overflow hose. Yes, it just sits there because we haven't got an overflow. Then when it overflows, rather than spraying all over the engine, it goes down that hose and pees on the floor. Hopefully that addresses that, but no, that isn't staying. This intake isn't staying. This is just so we can dyno it. These are black housing headlights off an Integra in some country other than the US. I don't know the origin, I don't know the part number, I don't know the make. They're brand new black housing headlights that I really like. These are JDM Type R wheels. They're not knockoff, they're not Volk, they're not expensive, they're not cheap. This is the wheel I like, and they'll be staying a similar color. The bumper is just hanging there. See, we are smart enough to hang bumpers, but of course people like to point this out. Just to let you know. Ooh, look. Look. The bumper is just hanging there. The reason it's hanging there is so that we could help line up the exhaust. Again, it's not a finished piece, but again, get your thumbs in now, quick. Let us know that this isn't attached. There's a big gap here, look. Get your thumbs in quick. Also, this strip. Somebody mentioned, again, I don't remember the person, but thank you for pointing that out. I am actually going to try and find that strip. I didn't know it was still available. The driver's side seat is in it, just so we can sit here and operate that and press that pedal down there for tuning. This gnarly steering wheel isn't going to stay. I don't like it. That is the UK Type R dash. It might not be UK. It might be from the Netherlands. It might be from Germany. It might be from Australia. I don't know. I don't really care. This is the dash I like, and it's in miles an hour. That is an ECU, and it has a cord going in the side, so you can type stuff. The seat belts I absolutely love. The US seats I really like. The JDM seats I know do look better, but to drive it on a normal day-to-day basis, in my opinion, the bolsters are too high and you end up damaging the seats. These are a little bit more user-friendly. Again, I kind of like them. Reason I'm going HIDs is because the old style incandescent headlights suck. They're just not very bright. I'm used to bright headlights. I'm getting old. My eyes are not very good. I'm used to better headlights. Why not have better headlights? Even though period correct would be to put a candle in there, that don't work very well. And a few of the questions and concerns and hates about the car. Again, I don't know what year these are. I think they're 97, 98. They did come with the car. They were changed a long time ago. I don't know. That is not a big concern. The things that we're building and the power and the drivability are the main concern, not so much the tail lights, but you never know. Never did address this. This is the S2000 rubber dicky thing. The one that was on it was like this long, and we did actually purchase it for the base. When you call upon and say I want an S2000 antenna, you get this little guy. You don't get this with a wire on the end to plug into the radio. So that was the idea. So we now have a little tiny little whippy antenna. So there it is. That's as far as I'm gonna go. So a good friend of mine, Steve, just sent me this morning. He's watching our video with the sound off. It's kind of funny. I was watching this part on YouTube video this morning with the caption turned on. As you pull into the dyno and you rev it, the blow-off valve operates. The caption reads music. How appropriate. That is so cool. Alright, so that was with exactly 1 pound more boost. 370, that's all it's gonna do. We've tried tweaking it, adding time in, taking time away. Again, we're still sitting on our 12 to 1 line. We're not trying to, you know, lean it out and make false numbers, because of course it's going to be unsafe. But 370, 255, and that is the journal bearing. It's kind of like the entry-level turbo that Boost Lab made for us. It's a BL 5858. I mean, it's a great turbo, but it's not, you know, one of their high-end turbos. It's a journal, so it's pretty good. But there it is. I think we're going to leave it for now. We're going to take the car off, take it to the shop, and start on the suspension, start taking it apart. Alright, so the car is back over here. We're going to jack it up. We're going to take the suspension off. It's going to sit here for maybe a couple of weeks while we get the suspension cleaned up, powder coated. It's getting the brand new Skunk 2 Pro C suspension on there as well. Then we'll adjust it to probably about this height. I kind of like this height. It's good the way it is. I don't like the tires tucking. This is my personal flavor. Modifying. Some people like their tires tucking, some people like it like this, some people like 2 inches. That's the personalizing part. So that's the height that I like. That's what I'm going to shoot for. And of course there's a few other Skunk 2 goodies going on there. I showed you this. That is the driver's seat. You can see how wicked blue that looks. Again, that hasn't been refinished because we've been dynoing the car, and of course, you know, when you clean up the seat, it does get kind of damp. So there is the refinished one. Again, we shampooed the sides come up real nice. The Alcantara comes up pretty well, and the stitching is nice. This had to be dyed, so you can see the difference there. See how blue that looks? It's crazy how that fabric changes with the sun, and it's got that kind of leathery look, that kind of cheesy, shiny, oily look on the seat. That's completely gone on this one. So that seat is going to go in soon, and it's starting to come together. We've still got a few of the odds and ends to put back in. The cluster, I'm going to show you that at some point. I'm going to take it apart and kind of clean it and show you to replace the glass, make it look nice and crisp. Different steering wheel. I don't know what we're going to do with the shift knob yet. Possibly change the shift knob. I don't know. Possibilities are endless. Also, the lip is going to go on. A lot of people asked about the lip. Hey, why don't you buy a lip? Well, it's had a lip all along. It's just not on there. We did find the replacement black rubber for that. When it goes back together, I'm going to show you that, and I'll show you the part number. You can buy 10 feet of it. I just got to mention that because somebody's probably trying to figure out how to hit the thumbs down quicker. That is a piece of hose. That answers that question. So the bumper is attached, but the lip is not. The lip will go on soon. We'll talk about that rubber gasket when it goes back together. And yes, the scoop is not in, but it is here. They did find it. They did paint it. There's a scoop. I put a picture of that on my Instagram. I don't know if you saw that, but that will go back together, and it's really going to start. Once that front end goes on in the scoop, it'll look like a different car. Right now it looks kind of goofy. It looks like an Accord. That don't look very good without a lip. They look like an Accord. But once that scoop is in and that lip is on there, that is going to look a whole different car. You watch. Alright, so this is where it's going to sit for a little while. We got it up on jack stands. The wheels are off. It's out of our way for a little bit. This brace under here and little control arms, I don't know what make they are. They're in good shape, but I just don't like the silver look, and the orange shocks and everything is kind of mismatched, and it's got a brace. So we're gonna take this stuff off, clean it up, replace the bolts, powder coat it, paint it, you know, make it all look generally cleaner. Same with the front. I'm gonna do a separate video of some of the parts.
New one, yeah.
Is that one centered?
It looks better, yeah.
So that one looks straight. This is our second one that's no good. We've got another one here. Luckily we had a few of these on the shelf. And that one's correct. See, that one is straight.
I almost like to look at this one more so far.
And this one's no good. And that one's no good. That sucks. I think we'll contact those guys and go, hey, can we send these back? Because this is no good. The only way to fix that is to cut that tube out of there. And then it's defeating the purpose of having that straight through tube to make it smooth. Actually, I'm just kidding. I couldn't let it go like that. There is actually more in here than just these little pellets. These are designed to get all over your shop, by the way. The only reason people use these is so that when you take the product out, These are now your problem. This is almost like sending your nuclear waste to a different country. There you go. It's not our problem, it's taken care of. So the trick I found is to put the little flat dickies up. Nobody knows this, by the way, so don't tell anybody. But then what you do, you still end up with them all over the place. There's some fittings right here. But the idea is you take the item out and you shake it and you get the little popcorn things off. Again, they don't want you doing this. This isn't the way you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pull this out, get it everywhere. See, they're designed, see, they're static. Designed to stick to you. All right, so the turbo that was on the car, it was basically a journal bearing, a BL, I think 58, kind of a small turbo. It's one that they built as, it's kind of an entry-level turbo. It's journal bearing. Well, originally, when we were building this car, the idea was to keep it basic, keep it fairly inexpensive, you know, put a small turbo and make 300. Well, like anything. So the question is, what is in that box? I didn't bring one. Can you see the turbo down there? There should be a turbo down the pipe. Rattle that again, just hold it where we had it. So this is the stainless bellows on the end of our cat. That's our rattle. So this bellow has a tube that sits in here so the flow directs through here, and this is obviously the separate part, so this flexes. But the tube, if you move it just that much, either way it hits.
Yeah, if you look at it too, it's completely flat right there.
Yeah, we didn't want to put this under stress.
But it's flip it over. Got all kinds of room.
Yeah, but going this way.
Yeah, going the opposite way, the way we're hanging it.
Move it a tiny bit, so it's almost like that piece.
You can just see it, it looks oval.
Is it really?
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see it with the camera because everything's kind of a little black in there, but...
Yeah, let me go get a light. Does it look oval?
No, it's a little oval, but you can see just its natural position. That pipe is like all the way at the top.
Yeah, it's almost like that is set in that pipe, but you can kind of, it's hard to see on, turn the light that way. Kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what our rattling is. So we're gonna change that while we have it apart. This isn't the main reason that we're having it come apart, but this is obviously something we want to do.
They want you to push it up like that at the center.
Yeah, and we didn't want that. We set it so it was relaxed and perfectly straight, thinking that we're doing it right.
No, the pipe is going uphill inside it.
So it's the way it's welded.
Yeah.
That pipe is, let me go show. Do we have a new one down here?
I think they're in the room over there.
Grab a new one, show you what it looks like. So this is the product that we're using right here, the Vibrant 3-inch stainless bellows. So the idea is this is all welded together as one piece. That's the inner piece. This is the back. This one's the same way. This one's all the way to one side. It's got a big gap at one side. So this piece here is the piece that protrudes all the way through. So this is welded together. You weld this on the pipe, this is on your outlet. You look at that, you can see it's crooked already.
Yeah, so it's almost like you need to weld it in a position to where when you put tension on it, it doesn't touch.
Yeah, which don't make sense. You would think that you'd set that to be relaxed, and you can't. It means that you got to put that together immediately under tension, which would prematurely break that part.
You would think so.
That has to be a boo-boo in there.
Yeah, because like you flex it, it looks center, but it looks way flexed.
Yeah. I figured I'd show you real quick. Somebody asked about this and said it says glass fragile on the box. I didn't know the lights were glass. They're not. I think it's just like the warning they put on there telling you it's fragile. Glass might just bring that to your attention. That is the part number for one of the lights. They are genuine Japanese. So the rotors are not in bad shape, but there's definitely a groove feel right here. I'm not a big fan of turning rotors, and again, it's kind of like the turbo thing. The car is kind of taken on. We've got a little bit more involved in it than I originally anticipated, so we're not going to reuse these. Of course, we could paint these and then turn them and make them look reasonable, but they're at least 10 years old. which again is not bad, but hope you get my drift here. The car is so much nicer. It deserves better brakes. So one of my favorite brakes is the StopTech slotted rotors. We use these on our S2000 packages. So it's gonna get front and rear rotors. They're powder coated here and then cut here. They look nicer, and this resists rust. So they're obviously functional and they look better. And of course we're gonna do Goodrich braided steel lines. These are the ones I like. They fit absolutely perfect. They fit like OEM. They're not something that you have to manipulate to make work like some of the other brands. So they are going on. The brake pads will be here today, and that can be installed. The suspension can go back together. The control arms are back on the front. Everything is rebuilt. The parts still have to go out for powder coat, and the new shocks need to be installed. Then we put the turbo back on, put it on the dyno, and show you some numbers. So that's where the car is going to sit for right now. Let me zoom out here. So that's where the car is going to sit for right now. Again, this isn't our primary work. We're not a shop that opens to work on this red Integra. We have a car here from California. We have a car here from Nevada. So that is 2 long distance cars. These both take precedence over this. As much as I enjoy doing this, this doesn't pay the bills, this doesn't pay the shop, this doesn't pay our salary. This does. Paying customers always come before your personal project. That's something that's really tough for some shops to figure out. Of course, you want to work on your own stuff. Some shops kind of got into the business for that reason, but this doesn't pay for that. It's the other way around. So keep that in mind if you're wondering why the project is going slow. I hope you understand. So see you on the next video. I'm John at LHT. That's the red Integra.